part 3, and it seems like we have to bring these transmissions through before we start our arrays of Andaras. Um, so going back, hopefully we're able to assist anyone here that has had these experiences. Now, for the human self, it was feeling very alone, distraught, lots of victimization energy, victimizer energy. Eventually, I started to turn on full blown, and I would sit there at night with beautiful star beings, galactic star beings, with my beautiful divine child, which is my crystalline child, who was assisting me the whole time and activating me, activating all my systems, all my DNA strands really fast, getting mom online. But I'm also a soul agreement of a creation portal of a guardian for her, and we're both guardians. Her and her father, me and her father are both guardians. We are the guardians of her, and she chose us coming in here. And it's the same thing with my parents. I chose them too as well, and they were the creators, the guardian creator portals that it came through. No matter, it doesn't matter if we were in a matrix or what they call the prison earth. So they were in the prison earth, and not anymore. So we were in a prison earth, and she came in to get me in the 4D earth, actually, not the prison earth. I was just now transitioning really fast, so she was assisting and working on me, and it doesn't really matter what dimensional system, but we do call it the prison earth because it is a prison earth inside of you. It's an access point within inside that holds different types of old energies, old ancient energies, and soul blueprint contracts that we're able to dissolve at a light speed as we're activating the keys within inside of us, the crystal keys and the ancient keys. So speaking language of light, speaking the universal languages and galactic languages that we were speaking and drawing, the dimensional beings were also assisting me, and I was in full communication with them, but also I was able to access, I call it Galactic Peaks. So Galactic Peaks, and however which way they were coming in. Galactic Peaks, and being able to be able to share my commander role. And the commander system, the commander role would come on, commander, chief and commander, that's fine. Chief and commander roles would come on, the captain, and I was able to station ships all around the planet. And I was crying and speaking a like language and crying my eyes out because I had no idea what was happening, and you feel like you're bizarre and losing your mind, right? So you go from full-blown human, completely nothing of any type of galactic energies, everything. I never was around anything. I actually just was in a time window. Now that I actually went to go look at it, I had guardians and galactic travelers and guardians that kept me in a time window. So I really didn't have any access to anything, and they did to preserve. They actually were preserving my system and my body, even though I was putting things in my body that were not the highest in the physical body. But they preserved me, and they were always there, and I knew that I had someone there, just didn't really know who was there. I always thought they were angels and angelics, and I found out they were actual guardian travelers that just wanted to make sure that I was really preserving the morphogenetic field, and it's not even an auric field, but to be able to preserve the Stargate system that was fully online and transmitting frequencies and codes. So we transmit frequencies and codes. Every being on this planet does, actually, and in the multiverse, but star children. So I'm hoping I'll be able to align to parents that have crystalline children, diamond children, rainbow children, star children that are really fully online like me and communicating and talking about other worlds, galaxies, planets, being a creator of worlds. Kind of like the full access that I have now, seeing how we can open it, how can we expand and to stretch consciousness in order to bring through the rainbow light technologies and all the master crystals in order to support all of us, which is the children, and us, which is the first wavers. They call us the foot runners. Yeah, the foot runners, or forerunners or foot runners. They call us foot runners because we are foot runners. We do footwork as an Andromedans. I'll get into that too. So as the chief and commander of that multi-dimensional that was on my ship, kind of streaming through, which is the Galactic Traveler. This one was able to station ships and command ships around the planet. So I call it the Galactic Peaks, and then we hit wires. There's different wires that are always set up, and we do call them wires because you'll fractal the whole time. So fractaling is definitely not the best experience. Fractaling could be sheer anxiety for years, actually. So my fractals were sheer anxiety, and then sheer going back and hitting the matrix systems really hard. When I say hard, kind of hitting those galactic peaks, and then when I wake up, I would be in sheer panic attacks and sheer sweats, and thinking that nothing was real, and it was the matrix system, matrix plug-in, that would come through, and that matrix system would make that, I call it the whatever illusion, the play on the other side, coming back in order to keep me in a lower system, or that nothing is real. So that would happen a lot, and they do say that that's lucid dreaming, but this was not. This is a frequency vent system that is set up with certain star beings here on the planet, that this system itself would not want us, I guess, I don't want to say that. It's a matrix system. So it could be to different galactic commanders, yes, it's put there as an implant to keep us shut down, but I don't believe in that anymore. So I do feel like that there's a different way of processing it. So it took me, I think, about 5, 6, 7 years, almost 7 years, with those systems completely hitting the grid every time I had an amazing galactic peak. I would sit with these beautiful Blu-ray beings, the most largest Blu-ray beings that are on my ship. One of them is my galactic husband, and and he most of the time would be standing there with me in different forms because it's also our ship system. So I would sit there with these beautiful Blu-ray tall beings that look like tall feline races. Not the Lyran races, but look like beautiful Blu-ray avatars, felines from Andromedan Galaxy. And that is where, being with them, I was able to resonate and to activate my dormanted keys with inside of me. So I was speaking language of light, doing hand gestures, and also drawing and writing and light language. And I will be sharing that too. So we could have video 4 or 5, guys, but it's fine. So I was able to see them, and that was always comforting because they said that they were my family. Now the Blu-rays, the big Blu-ray beings, the blue beings that I would sit there and do energy balls with, and then we would station different ships. The ships are a full body system, so they really are not galactic ships like other galactic ships that we know. They're actual full body systems that are ran through telepathy of the full body, galactic body, which is our body. And yes, we are moving there, and yes, we have them online, and we are able to access this here on Earth. So we do. But it just takes some time to get the system online. Not anymore. So stationing these systems and ships, it's a full body Stargate ship. They could be as big as the moon and planets, and they can too. So they're ran telepathically through the system and through the body systems, and we'll go back into the wires later. But I would sit with the Blu-rays, and I would see them, and we would go through Phoenix cycles. I would have meltdowns and breakdowns and crying. And I have to explain this because this was for many years. I was putting things into my body that were not good either. So as they activated me, they worked on me. I had an alcohol problem that would amp up even worse, but it didn't matter because that was the only way I would open up to see them and to communicate with them, and to also command ships as what you call the chief and commander. So it's quite hilarious, and not really. at all. So it was just an interesting time with inside of me, inside of myself, and always in my Stargate, and always speaking telepathically to all of these beings, and feeling very at home, and feeling not so great on the other side out, which would be like this reality, but this reality inside was awesome and amazing, and it was. So as I was amping up, eventually I call it the attachment. As you quantum jump at first, you quantum jump and you teleport, eventually the attachment to alcohol will fly off of you, and it did. Just not in the way that we wanted it to, but it doesn't matter. So I would play with him, and I would be able to connect with the blue rays, and we would do energy balls, and it was the only way that they would get me to relax, and who I was becoming. Who are we becoming at this point? I would freak out and go, well, people are going to think this and that, because that's another human system that you go through. So 8 years, 7 years of dissolving that system too. But everything was pretty much activated. So they're definitely my family. Like I said, see what resonates with you for a long time. What do you feel like is home? They definitely felt like home. Arcturians felt like home to me too, and mantises are my adopted parents, and they're big praying mantis beings, and I absolutely love them. So those ones are, I call them my adopted parents, and I'm always ready to go home whenever it is they're ready to yeah to get whatever work done that they're doing here. So that's just another system of me, if that makes sense. So kind of moving into the systems as we go. I would work with crystals. I became obsessed with crystals, and we all are, especially when you become the crystal star being again. You're the crystal star being. You become the crystals. You tune into the consciousness. So hitting galactic consciousness and universal consciousness was so easy for all of us after 12/12. It was really easy for us, and I know it's because we had beautiful expansions of an interconnection crystal grid on the planet that I didn't know anything about, actually, because of the time windows that the Galactic Guardians kept me in, actually. So it's okay. Eventually they let me kind of start to venture out there and start to unlock some doorways. Most of the time I would sit and I would draw, or I would be the Andromedan, and also I would do what we call footwork. So it looks like chi arts, but it's different movements of teleportation, and also different movements with hands and feet. It looks like chi art, but it's forms of teleporting, and it's also forms as like I can move my hands in different directions, but it was really fast, very similar like Neo from the Matrix, and that's actually how I woke up, moving extremely fast with full chi arts, all different types of multidimensional chi arts. And I actually could start to see purple light coming from my hands, and I actually could move fast enough eventually where I could see chi moving very fast, like Neo from the Matrix when he was with Morpheus, getting his downloads. The downloads are really downloaded through the spinal cord, so that's actually real. So that's, and I was full blown all over the place, moving in all directions, and I realized, oh, this is an Andromedan higher self. So I realized the Blu-ray is me, and it is me, fully integrated. One of my, call it my highest versions, but I have other, I call it reaching for the stars, and I did. I was able to access all kinds of sun and star systems, and to become the sun and the star, and that was with the Andaras. So that's what we call the Andromedan footwork, which we will hopefully bring through for everybody in the next few years. So we'll go to